I took a YouTube creator feedback survey recently, and apparently if you have over 25,000 subs, they put you in a secret different category on the back end, so I need you to subscribe so I can game the system. Thanks. Anyway, let's plow ahead. Your first AOS tournament checklist. Tournament pack document. This should be available very early. Reach out to your TO to get it if for some reason you can't find it online, or don't, and then complain about it on Twitter later. Read the pack to make sure there are no surprises, like any TO rulings for stuff that hasn't been FAQ'd yet, custom rules for a narrative tournament, what battle plans are using, etc. Surely your TO isn't keeping battle plans secret, or God forbid, rolling for them the day of. This step is also where you find out about the painting rubric or how to get trophies if you give a shit. Most people don't. Again, ask the TO if you care a lot, or don't, and then complain about it on Twitter later. If you have custom models, 3D printed, scratch built, whatever, if it's not an official GW event, these are cool closing in on 100% of the time. If you feel like it, best to be safe and send a picture of them to the TO to get clearance, but everyone loves conversions and cool looking stuff, and no one cares at all if it's not GW plastic. Except, well, GW. So if it's one of their events, they're understandably strict. The one rule to follow for sure on conversions is the base size and shape must be correct, because that's like how you play the game, and having the ballpark pretend where the bases should be while playing is annoying and arbitrary. Don't put your opponents through that, it's rude and also against the rules. On your army, by the way, official lore is alright, but coming up with custom your dude's lore is way more fun. Exact Stormhost color schemes are suggestions, just tell me what rules you're using and we're good. This is the prevailing attitude. Artistic freedom is a cornerstone of Age of Sigmar hobby, and thankfully, unlike 40k, you don't pay points for loadout options, which allows us to use whatever looks the coolest and still get to use the fun rules. Best of both worlds. What you see is what you get is a clause in most TO packs as insurance, to be able to point at some rule if someone is being a dick, or insultingly lazy like using Coke cans for KO ships, and not so much a letter of the law rule. Sign up to whatever weirdo tournament phone app the event is using. There's a bunch of them, and their fans toxically bully each other online in an effort to be the one everyone uses. It's actually pretty off-putting. Sign up with a nickname unless you're comfortable doxing yourself with real first and last name, as that shit gets posted everywhere online. I myself sign up as HeyWoah. Drive to your parents' house or anyone else ancient enough to own what is known as a printer, and print out a copy of your army list for each round of the event, plus one for the TO, so you can hand your opponents your list and they know what you're playing. Age of Sigmar, unlike Magic the Gathering, is not at all about bluffing or secret information and gotchas. Everything's on the table, so to speak. We play by intent, announce end of phases, and make sure people don't forget to do stuff that they said they would do before. There's this gentlemanly sportsmanship kind of thing going on, to the point that most tournaments even score you for this. Despite that being practically impossible if you think about it, just to drive it home to the community that being sporting chaps is important. Also, while your dude's lore is cool and encouraged, for the sanity of the TOs, please use the actual War Scroll names on your army list, and not your really long role-playing names for all your heroes, so they don't have to guess what every unit in your army is.
Okay, so what heroes are you playing?
Alright, I got Malleus Hammer, the Hammer, Knight Protein Julius Quadfather, and my general is Gran She-Magus Swolflexia Dom Crush Me.
I'm sorry, what?
Gaming supplies checklist. I shouldn't need to say this, but I've been to events where this happened. Bring your army. Double check it's all there with your army list in hand before it goes in the trunk. Print it out and laminate it if you're feeling fancy. Cheat sheet with a bunch of useful info on it, like all the CAs and battle tactics, turn sequence, etc. The one I use and recommend is Austin Weird Knobs, link in the description. Not sponsored, by the way. A tape measure that works. 3-inch combat measuring thing or two, pen, tiny note paper from a hotel room for tracking stuff during the game. Dice that are clearly legible. High contrast is good, players lean older, okay, your opponent may be on that bifocal gaming. Let's not go orange and bronze. Uniform is also good, don't be that guy that rolls armor saves with 9 different dice, all with different custom symbols for the 1s and 6s. Most Games Workshop dice are not only an awful choice for actually gaming with, but also about 12,000% more expensive than normal dice, while also being worse. Clear plastic objective markers. We live in a civilized era. Okay, it's long since time to always be using these. Also saves time endlessly measuring around objectives 5 times a turn. 10 turns a game. Wound trackers. This can be as simple as a big red die for each unit in your army. Also tokens for stuff if your army needs those, like heroic actions, mystic shield, Nurgle disease counters, Khorne blood tithe, Slaanesh edging points, etc. If you want to go above and beyond, bring some terrain type markers, even though none of them matter besides arcane. Sticks are OP. Bring one of each measurement that your army tends to use all the time, 6 inches, 9 inches, whatever. Even though you have a tape measure, this is often faster and it helps during deployment. Bring movement trays if you're a horde army. They cut deployment time in half and can speed up the first few turns. Super glue and blue tack. Someone will thank you for bringing it. People drop shit all the time and traveling with armies sucks. Painkillers. Protein. Bone charger. Yes, still a mask. Commander for a 2-day event, a surprising number of AOS players like EDH. Breath mints, Monster Zero Ultra, Waifu keychain, discombobulate. Coleman travel grill, ground bison kneaded into onions, seeded mustard, Worcester, Tabasco, garlic, salt and pepper to taste. Don't flip them more than they need, we're trying to lock those juices in there. Aged sharp cheddar and sriracha mayo, fresh tomato slice, soft pretzel bun. Bring a weed whacker just in case the tournament grounds are getting a little long. Hit those sidewalk edges. You'll use up some extra string if there's any chain link fence, but it's worth it to look nice. Also, you can usually find a spigot on the side of the building to hook up your power washer. It is your first event, so you'll probably lose a lot, play slowly, and also learn a lot. This is fine and normal. Just tell your opponents that it's your first tournament and you're good. As experienced players, the ball is now in their court to smooth things over, but they'll still try to win, obviously. They will not be mad that you're new. If they are also new, it'll relieve the stress, and if they are experienced, they'll be happy for the free win. Practicing beforehand at stuff that can speed up your pace of play is strongly recommended. Most, and I mean 80% plus, of the people at the tournament are just there to get away from home and play 5 games in a row with people who like Age of Sigmar, and go out to some bar and grill for hot wings afterwards at a 13-person table. They're passively hoping for a winning record like 3-2. The other 20% are actively trying to win a trophy, and 6 of them probably will. You cannot be a huge dickhead or your sports score will tank your tiebreakers, so even tryhards are incentivized to be nice, which, in my experience, they are. Honestly, hot take, they're much nicer than the average player, because you get a reputation very quickly among TOs and regular tournament goers, and everyone talks to each other. Also, it sucks not to get invited out for wings afterwards. The trick is, and most people have done this, but it's your first event, so I'm telling you, they've determined what it is that they care about achieving and have worked towards that. Some people spent 6 months perfectly customizing and painting a display quality army. Lots of freehand and conversions. They want that painting trophy and they don't care if they have to lose all 5 games to get it. Some people brought an extra $150 to literally bribe people with beer and practice their charisma checks to get best sportsmanship. Some people want to win best general, and so they tweaked the best army list they could think of, planned out every deployment for every battle plan, how they'll play against the other best armies, and have 50 test games under their belt. If you have not, you can't reasonably be mad at a poor result. This is a dad game with no money on the line, but it is still a tournament. A very common thing for skilled players to do is to choose a weaker army either on purpose or as a peripheral side effect of picking the one they think is the coolest, and then optimizing after that choice as a fun challenge. You aren't really punished for doing so in AOS because cash prizes basically don't exist. For now. Eventually we will make that horrible mistake. But so far, we collectively haven't ruined this fun game yet by trying to force the blight of esports where it absolutely does not fit. So we got best general, painting, and sports. Some people want best overall, which is a combination of all 3 at varying degrees. This one's elusive since tiebreakers in a tournament without enough rounds for proper Swiss is already slipshod. Now with subjective stuff like painting added in, if you're going for it, good on ya, thoughts and prayers, but don't get your feelings hurt. Remember, no one else cares. My advice is to largely ignore standings and just focus on record. If you went 4-1, that's great. It's irrelevant whether that means 4th place or 14th. Lastly, watch my gamer attitude video called Get Good and or Have Fun for what I feel is a healthy attitude as it pertains to competitive and casual play. It's probably my best video so far and it has a very important message, and because of those facts, it will not be at all popular, so I do recommend it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join my Discord if you feel like it, and buy a shirt, will ya?